Selected poems by Oscar Wilde. Narrated by a tall blonde beauty. Poem Save Imperatrix. Set in this stormy, northern sea, queen of these restless fields of tide, England, what shall men say of thee, before whose feet the worlds divide? The earth, a brittle globe of glass, lies in the hollow of thy hand, and through its heart of crystal pass, like shadows through a twilight land, the spears of crimson-suited war, the long white-crested waves of fight, and all the deadly fires which are the torches of the lords of night, the yellow leopards, strained and lean, the treacherous Russian knows so well, with gaping blackened jaws are seen, leap through the hail of screaming shell. The strong sea lion of England's wars hath left his sapphire cave of sea to battle with the storm that mars. The stars of England's chivalry, the brazen-throated clarion blows across the Pathon's reedy fen, and the high steeps of Indian snows shake to the tread of our madmen, and many an Afghan chief, who lies beneath his cool pomegranate trees, clutches his sword in fierce surmise, when on the mountainside he sees the fleet-foot Murray scout, who comes to tell how he hath heard afar the measured roll of English drums beat at the gates of Kandahar. Arvedigadais. Of this year is das innocete, on days, though, for southern wind and east wind meet, where, girt and crowned by sword and fire, England, with bare and bloody feet, climbs the steep road of wide empire. O lonely Himalayan height, grey pillar of the Indian sky, where saw'st thou last in clanging flight our winged dogs of victory, the almond groves of Samarkand, Bokhara, where red lilies blow, and Oxus, by whose yellow sand the grave white turbaned merchants go, and on from thence to Ispahan, the gilded garden of the sun, whence the long dusty caravan brings cedar wood and vermilion, and that dread city of Kabul, set at the mountain's scarped feet, whose marble tanks are ever full with water for the noonday heat, where through the narrow straight bazaar a little maid Circassian is led, a present from the Tsar, unto some old and bearded Khan. Here have our wild war eagles flown, and flapped wide wings in fiery fight. But the sad dove, that sits alone in England, she hath no delight. In vain the laughing girl will lean to greet her love with love-lit eyes, down in some treacherous black ravine, clutching his flag, the dead boy lies, and many a moon and sun will see the lingering wistful children wait to climb upon their father's knee, and in each house made desolate, pale women who have lost their lord will kiss the relics of the slain, some tarnished epaulette, some sword, poor toys to soothe such anguished pain. For not in quiet English fields are these our brothers lain to rest, where we might deck their broken shields with all the flowers the dead love best. For some are by the Delhi walls, and many in the Afghan land, and many where the Ganges falls through 7 mouths of shifting sand, and some in Russian waters lie, and others in the seas which are the portals to the east, or by the wind-swept heights of Trafalgar. O wandering graves! O restless sleep! O silence of the sunless day! O still ravine! O stormy deep! Give up your prey! Give up your prey! And thou whose wounds are never healed, whose weary race is never won, O Cromwell's England, must thou yield for every inch of ground a son? Go! Crown with thorns thy gold-crowned head, change thy glad song to song of pain. Wind and wild wave have got thy dead, and will not yield them back again. Wave and wild wind, and foreign shore. Possess the flower of English land, lips that thy lips shall kiss no more, hands that shall never clasp thy hand. What profit now that we have bound the whole round world with nets of gold, if hidden in our heart is found the care that groweth never old? What profit that our galleys ride, pine forest like, on every main? Ruin and wreck are at our side, grim warders of the house of pain. Where are the brave, the strong, the fleet? Where is our English chivalry? Wild grasses are their burial sheet, and sobbing waves their threnody. O loved ones lying far away, what word of love can dead lips send? O wasted dust, O senseless clay, is this the end? Is this the end? Peace, peace. We wrong the noble dead, to vex their solemn slumber so, though childless, and with thorn-crowned head, up the steep road must England go. Yet when this fiery web is spun, her watchmen shall descry from far the young republic, like a sun, rise from these crimson seas of war. To my wife, with a copy of my poems, I can write no stately proem, as a prelude to my lay. From a poet to a poem, I would dare to say, for if of these fallen petals, one to you seem fair, love will waft it, till it settles on your hair. And when wind and winter harden all the loveless land, it will whisper of the garden, you will understand. Magdalen walks. The little white clouds are racing over the sky, and the fields are strewn with the gold of the gold flower of March. The daffodil breaks underfoot, and the tasseled larch sways and swings as the thrush goes hurrying by. A delicate odor is borne on the wings of the morning breeze, the odor of deep wet grass and of brown, new furrowed earth. The birds are singing for joy of the spring's glad birth, hopping from branch to branch on the rocking trees. And all the woods are alive with the murmur and sound of spring, and the rosebud breaks into pink on the climbing bria, and the crocus bed is a quivering moon of fire, girdled round with the belt of an amethyst ring, and the plain to the pine tree is whispering some tale of love, till it rustles with laughter and tosses its mantle of green, and the gloom of the wick-helm's hollow is lit with the iris sheen of the burnished rainbow throat, and the silver breast of a dove eterne. Adine Nedias and Amara Dicare. Inis Z. The lark starts up from his bed in the meadow, there, breaking the gossamer threads and nets of fee. Dew, and flashing adown the river, a flame of blue. The kingfisher flies like an arrow, and wounds the air. Theocritus a villanelle. O singer of Persephone! In the dim meadows desolate, dost thou remember Sicily? Still through the ivy flits the bee, where Amaryllis lies in state. O singer of Persephone! Neis Zimeta calls on Hecate, and hears the wild dogs at the gate. Dost thou remember Sicily? Still, by the light and laughing sea, poor Polypheme bemoans his fate. O singer of Persephone! And still, in boyish rivalry, young Daphnis challenges his mate. Dost thou remember Sicily? Slim Lacon keeps a goat for thee the jocund shepherds wait. O singer of Persephone! Vilith steditens teo, arbase di diushanai. Indeni mordiste, und ses idatedi. I lays in the shore. Dost thou remember Sicily? Greece. The sea was sapphire, colored, and the sky burned like a heated opal through the air. We hoisted sail. The wind was blowing fair for the blue lands that to the eastward lie. From the steep prow I marked with quickening eye Zakynthos, every olive grove and creek, Ithaca's cliff, Lycaon's snowy peak, and all the flower-strewn hills of Arcady. The flapping of the sail against the mast, the ripple of the water on the side, the ripple of girls' laughter at the stern, the only sounds, when 'gan the west to burn, and a red sun upon the seas to ride. I stood upon the soil of Greece at last. Katakolo totenadais tai. Inisiatarabadtab ternestedistamdadaidas. Katakolo dot upte. Astadapsindani. Portia to Ellen Terry. Written at the Lyceum Theatre. I marvel not, Bassanio was so bold, to peril all he had upon the lead, or that proud Aragon bent Lily's head, or that Morocco's fiery heart grew cold, for in that gorgeous dress of beaten gold, which is more golden than the golden sun, no woman Veronese looked upon, was half so fair as thou whom I behold, yet fairer, when with wisdom as your shield, the sober-suited lawyer's gown you donned, and would not let the laws of Venice yield Antonio's heart to that accursed. You? O Portia, take my heart, it is thy due. I think I will not quarrel with the bond. Fabien di Franchi to my friend Henry Irving. The silent room, the silent room, heavy creeping shade, the dead that travel fast, the opening door, the murdered brother rising through the floor, the ghost-white fingers on thy shoulders laid, and then the lonely duel in the glade, the broken swords, the stifled scream, the gore, thy grand revengeful eyes when all is o'er. These things are well enough, but thou wert made for more august creation. Frenzied Lear should at thy bidding wander on the heath, with the shrill fool to mock him. Romeo, for thee should lure his love, and desperate fear pluck Richard's recreant dagger from its sheath. Thou trumpet, set for Shakespeare's lips to blow. Fedre to Sarah Bernhardt. How vain and dull this common world must seem to such a one as thou, who shouldst have talked at Florence with Mirandola, or walked through the cool olives of the Academe. Thou shouldst have gathered reeds from a green stream for goat-foot Pan's shrill piping, and have played with the white girls in that Phaeacian glade where grave Odysseus wakened from his dream. Ah! Surely once some urn of Attic clay held thy one dust, and thou hast come again, back to this common world so dull and vain, for thou wert weary of the sunless day, the heavy fields of scentless asphodel, the loveless lips with which men kiss in hell. Sonnet. On hearing the dies irae sung in the Sistine Chapel. Nay, Lord, not thus, white lilies in the spring, sad olive groves or silver-breasted dove, teach me more clearly of thy life and love than terrors of red flame and thundering. The hillside vines dear memories of thee bring. A bird at evening, flying to its nest, tells me of one who had no place of rest. I think it is of thee the sparrows sing. Come on, rather on some autumn afternoon, when red and brown are burnished on the leaves, and the fields echo to the gleaner's song. Come when the splendid fullness of the moon looks down upon the rows of golden sheaves, and reap thy harvest. We have waited long. Ave Maria gratia plena, Andinaria greda betenided hilbestelme. Ave Maria. Was this his coming? I hope to see a scene of wondrous glory, as was told of some great god, who in a rain of gold broke open bars and fell on Danae. Or a dread vision, as when Semele, sickening for love and unappeased desire, prayed to see God's clear body, and the fire caught her brown limbs and slew her utterly. With such glad dreams I sought this holy place, and now with wondering eyes and heart, I stand before this supreme mystery of love. Some kneeling girl with passionless pale face, an angel with a lily in his hand, and over both the white wings of a dove. Florence, Pinterwa. Libertatis sacra fames. Albeit nurtured in democracy, and liking best that state republican, where every man is king-like, and no man is crowned above his fellows. Yet I see, spite of this modern fret for liberty, better the rule of one, whom all obey, than to let clamorous demagogues betray our freedom with the kiss of anarchy. Wherefore I love them not whose hands profane plant the red flag upon the piled-up street, for no right cause, beneath whose ignorant reign arts, culture, reverence, honor, all things fade, save treason and the dagger of her trade, or murder with his silent, bloody feet. Roses and rue. To LL, could we dig up this long-buried treasure, were it worth the pleasure? We never could learn love's song, we are parted too long. Could the passionate past that is fled call back its dead? Could we live it all over again, were it worth the pain? I remember we used to meet by an ivied seat, and you warbled each pretty word with the air of a bird, and your voice had a quaver in it, just like a linnet, and shook as the blackbird's throat with its last big note. And your eyes, they were green and gray, like an April day, but lit into amethyst when I stooped and kissed. And your mouth, it would never smile for a long, long while, then it rippled all over with laughter. 5 minutes after, you were always afraid of a shower, just like a flower. I remember you started and ran when the rain began. I remember I never could catch you, for no one could match you. You had wonderful luminous fleet little wings to your feet. I remember your hair. Did I tie it? For it always ran riot, like a tangled sunbeam of gold. These things are old. I remember so well the room, and the lilac bloom that beat at the dripping pane in the warm June rain, and the color of your gown, it was amber brown, and 2 yellow satin bows from your shoulders rose, and the handkerchief of French lace, which you held to your face, had a small tear left a stain. Or was it the rain? On your hand as it waved adieu, there were veins of blue. In your voice, as it said goodbye, us a petulant cry, you have only wasted your waste life. Ah! That was the knife, when I rushed through the garden gate. It was all too late. Could we live it over again? Were it worth the pain? Could the passionate past that is fled call back its dead? Well, if my heart must break, dear love, for your sake, it will break in music, I know. Poets' hearts break so. But strange that I was not told that the brain can hold, in a tiny ivory cell, God's heaven and hell.